Hello, I'm Janie Clark-Lindell, and I'm a professor in educational leadership.
And I'm Cheryl Ingram-Smith, and I'm a professor in the Department of Genetics and Biochemistry.
I'm finishing my second year as a University Research Grant Committee member, and I'm going to just throw out a few pointers from the committee's perspective about reviewing grants for people who are thinking about proposing their projects to our committee. First of all, it's really important to follow directions. That seems pretty obvious. However, you've got a collection of people on the committee who are coming from lots of different colleges and different perspectives, and it makes it harder to follow what the proposal is if you don't follow the directions. Don't make the committee go looking for the information. Make sure it's laid out very specifically as instructed on the grant call for proposals. The second thing that tends to be very helpful for the committee is in explaining what you're doing, it helps to have a graphic organizer of some kind. Different fields have different kinds of displays, but that does communicate an awful lot and saves us some time and the proposers sometimes if they use displays that really are helpful in explaining what the project is and what the data that lay the groundwork for it are. And then finally, one of the things that the committee finds very helpful is to have very specific information about faculty startup monies and how they've been funded to the point that they're making this proposal. It also helps the committee figure out whether there are some resources available elsewhere that might be supportive of the project.
And from my point of view, when I've written 2 of these. The first one was not successful, and I tried to learn from my mistakes from the first one. So in the second one, what I was very careful to do, I did follow the directions very carefully, and I tried to be very conscious of writing to a general audience, not to my own field, but keeping in mind who was on the committee and that I needed to reach all of you. And so I was very conscious of doing that as I wrote. And I started out trying to immediately get across the importance of my project. It was on salmonella. Everybody thinks that in terms of food poisoning. So that's how I started out, to make it understandable. Here's the problem, here's how it hits home with you, and then where I was going with it. And then I was also very careful in laying out what my startup was, and that the idea was this was a new project that was unrelated to my primary project, and that's why I was asking for funding. And apparently I was successful. The first time I did not get that across at all. And when I read through my first one, it was very clear it was for a much more scientific audience, so I tried to be very conscious of that the second time around and had good success.
It's an interesting phenomenon that, this is a research campus, and all of us are still sort of lodged in our own little worlds of communication. Mm-hmm. And we do share a common mission with the institution. And so when you're able to explain to the rest of us how it matters to everybody else, then that's when the committee can see its way forward and figure out, what they can fund.
Well, and I think in general it's a good exercise as far as at some point we all have to be able to talk to the public about what we do as well. And this is a good start.
Clemson has to justify itself to the public as well. So we really hope that these little tips, even though some of them might seem a little bit obvious, by emphasizing them, they might help you with your own proposals.
Good luck.